My name is Corey. My channel is about growing an abundance amount of food on a small, urban, downtown Orlando, Zone 9A. And we started this journey about 10 years ago. And I was creating this food forest. I don't really like to call it a food forest because I can't get lost in that forest. And that's what I think a forest is. So I call it a food factory, and it is popping right now. That 10-year mark, like the fruit is all fruiting, you know, the cherries are coming out, the avocados, the papaya, there's so much food on this property. And that 10 years like is an abundance amount of food that is just a magic number. And then 3 months ago, I went through a separation with my partner after 13 years. And I had to sit here and go, why would I stay here with all this food, all this abundance of food just for me? And it didn't feel pretty, it didn't look pretty, and I wanted to run away so bad. I just wanted to run from it. And then I was like, I can't, because whether I rent it out or whether I sell it, I don't know, take a look around your house right now and tell me if it's rent ready today. Like mine wasn't. I have been sticking my head in the dirt in the garden for so long that I look up and the vinyl siding on my house is moldy, and the vinyl siding on the fences are moldy, and just things need to be picked up. I don't know if you have a barn, a garage, or a tool shed, but after 2 years of not really keeping up with it as much as you're keeping up with everything else, it needed a lot of attention. And so what I did, instead of running, I hid. I closed my blinds and I started in the house, and I started minimalizing the things in my house to make it easier for me. And you know, you're going through this pain on top of it. Every day I would look through these blinds and look at the weeds, those Florida weeds after the summer. And I had tried to do some of the beds, but hadn't finished them, and some of them you couldn't even see. And you know, you go through depression with this thing. And I'd look out there and I knew I had to tackle that tool shed. And most of the tools in there, I didn't even know what they were. So I didn't know how to sell them, how to get rid of them, how to place them. And it just was overwhelming. So I kept in the house, and the house itself took me over 2 months every single day. And there were some days where I did nothing. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't even tell my children for 6 weeks. I didn't talk to my mother. I didn't text my mother. I didn't talk to anybody for 3 months. Like, some of them I started talking to about 2 months in, but somebody must have told my mother something, because my mother showed up 3 months into this with my stepfather. I will tell you right now, I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted to hide. And when she got here the next morning, she was like, give me your list, tell me what your list is. And I'm like what? There's so much to do. My mother's 78 years old. And these are things that were like heavy stuff, like, you know, work out in Florida, and it's still hot. And we walked out into the garden, and she took a look around, and I picked up a basket because I didn't want to start anything. I was not ready. And I picked up a basket and I said, have you ever seen roselle, hibiscus, Jamaican sorrel? I said, I have one more flush of it and we can go pick it right now. I'm gonna dry it for tea. And I've already made jams and syrups. Like, I'm trying to get off the subject here of like the work that needs to be done. And she just got up and started walking out towards my garden, weeding it. She knew what that meant to me. And I followed her out there, and we weeded that garden all day long. About 1 o'clock, I came in the house, and I was like, I gotta feed these people. So I took some veal and made some spaghetti, and I went to my big pantry, and I got one of my vodka sauces that I made with my tomatoes from last year. and I warmed it up, and I came over here and got some basil for my hydroponics, and we had this beautiful little lunch. Then we went right back out there and started working again. Then I saw my stepfather heading out to the tool shed. Didn't ask me any questions, just started going through it. Started bringing things out, started testing things, started to see what works with what, and just started working. We worked 7 to 8 hours every single day. They were here for 7 days. And the second day, got up, started working on the other side of the garden where the chickens are, and we started weeding that. And there was the first bed that he had ever made me. It was the biggest bed he had ever made me. And it was probably 3 foot high, 3 foot wide, and probably 8 or 9 foot long. And it was full of beautiful soil that I have been working on for 5 years. And it was falling apart. And I knew I didn't want to do that by myself, take it apart and move all that soil. And so my stepfather, he took it apart and was like, where do you want this soil? And I'm like, oh, let's just fill up all the beds that are getting, your beds like shrink. And so we started filling up these beds. And I'm thinking in my head, what am I doing? Because I don't even know if I'm staying here. And if I'm renting it out or I'm going to sell it, all these beds need to go away. All these chicken coops need to go away. And like, I didn't even know what to do, but stuff was getting done. And I was just fighting myself. Like, I don't know if I'm even going to stay here. Like, why would I fill these beds up with this beautiful soil? So that afternoon I came inside the house and I made some potato soup. I went out to the freezer and I got the last of my cauliflower and broccoli and I put it in the soup, and then we had lunch. And then we went back outside and tackled some more. And the next day we started power washing the fence and the house. And the fence was a hard one because it was really, really bad and lots of mold on it. And I won't allow chemicals in my property. So I know there's this bleach that can get things cleaned off in like 30 seconds. I think that's the name of it, 30-second bleach. But I have citrus plants and I have lemon trees and I have bananas and I have fig trees right there and chicken coops. And so we scrubbed it with vinegar and power washed it, and it probably took 10 times as long because I didn't want chemicals going into my lemon trees, even though I was going to sell this house at the time. And I came in the house and I got some of my eggs from the coop and some of my avocados from the tree, and I made my famous avocado egg salad, which I've done a video on, by the way. And we had a quick little lunch. It was delicious. And we went back out and started working again. And that night, my mom said, what do you need done? What else do you need done? Because we knew we had to power wash the front of the house and the front fence and everything still. I said, back in February, I studied people doing irrigation on their beds, their garden beds. And I studied it, and then I bought all this stuff. I probably spent like $400. I spent 4 or 5 days out there by myself in the sun, hooking this stuff together, every single bed. And if this was gonna save me so much time, because I water an hour on that side and an hour on that side. I have 2 sides of my garden on each side of the house. And it's an hour every single day during this growing season. And I was just so happy that this was gonna work. And so I put it all together, spent 4 or 5 days on it, and I turned it on and 2 beds worked. I had like 15 beds, 3x6s, and planters all the way down. And I had them all in the planters too. And I was just like, you're just like, no, my gosh. And I asked people for help and nobody kind of knew what to do. So I just left it and I kept hand watering for the rest of the season. So the next day we got up and they started power washing the house, and now I think they're doing the driveway. They're just going crazy with this power washing. which is amazing because I don't think I could have got this done in 6 months the way my head was. And so I came in the house, I took pictures of the product out there, of the irrigation. And I took pictures of the configuration and everything and said how many beds I have. And it came back and told me 3 options. Number 1, it said, yeah, this is a common problem with this product. And so I ordered a couple things, which was like 25 bucks. And that next day I went out there and I started redoing all the lines. And I went and turned it on and it all worked. Not fantastically, but it all worked in every single bed. I mean, I would have liked to have it spray like this, but it was spraying like this, but it worked, and it was gonna save me a lot of time if I decided to stay here. I am still like, why am I doing this? Why am I fixing this? So my kids come over. It was a weekend. They come over with their kids, and the kids are in the pool. I have a house full of people, and we decided to do a whole red snapper and some scallions on the grill. And the babes are swimming around, and I'm out there, and I tell you, I felt so lonely. Incredibly lonely. Out there, grilling it up. And my grandson gets out of the pool, gets a towel, he's freezing, and he gets a chair, and he walks out there to the grill, and he sits next to me. And then another one does the same thing, gets a chair, and comes out there and sits next to me. And now all 4 of them are sitting around me. And it dawned on me, I fed my family from my garden every single day that week. From food that I grew from last fall and preserved and put on the shelf or in the freezer, from food from fresh. My mom was dicing up papaya and putting in bowls, and we were snacking on it throughout the day. I was feeding my family and loved ones and people I loved every single day. And that's why I've made the decision to not give this up. I have to learn the value of myself. I have to learn how to appreciate doing this for myself. Sometimes I can't even think about, like I'm sitting here going, why would I make myself a loaf of bread? You know how many hours that takes? But I have to learn how to love to do that for myself. I have to find my worth, and it is going to be a huge adjustment period. It is a huge adjustment period, and it doesn't feel great right now. With that being said, you know, you go through this on both sides. I don't care who you are. I'm both people in the situation. You're gonna feel broken, and your confidence level is just, well, my confidence level, I'll speak for myself, is pretty shot right now. And the day it happened, I got up and I shot a video. I have shot a video every single week since this has happened. And you'll see that they're mostly inside. All my videos are mostly inside. But I kept going and I kept doing it because it was important to me and it brings me joy. I started this channel for my babes because I wanted them to see me at the youngest that I was ever gonna be, at the youngest they were ever gonna be. And I wanted to show them how to grow food. I wanted to know that this is necessary, that this is doable in any situation, indoors, outdoors, hydroponics, and beds, trees, all these different ways. I want to teach them how to preserve it, and I want to teach them how to cook it. That's why I made this channel. And if there's any other people that I can inspire to do this channel, I'm gonna keep on doing it. If I can inspire one person. I watch people from all over the country that don't even live in my region, and their temperatures are different, their weather is different at different times, but I watch them for inspiration, because when I go out and I sit there and watch another homesteader, a YouTuber, or somebody that's learning how to do permaculture or a vegetable garden or whatever it may be, and I don't feel like doing it that day, but I see them working their butts off and doing it, it gives me inspiration to get off my butt and go out there and do it. And so if I can inspire somebody else to do that, I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm not going to let my children and my grandchildren see me stop doing this. And I don't know what my future looks like. That's the scary part. But that's where I'm at. And I know I'm not the only person going through these things that have homesteads, have farms, because I watch people. I've witnessed a person that had a death of her husband, and they have pigs, and they have all these things, and they were YouTubers too for a decade. And I watched her get through that. I watched Homestead Heart like a week ago. She posted a video about depression on her homestead, and it's not depression as you would think. It's because you set yourself up to grow all this abundance of food, and then you look at your house and it's moldy, and you're like, oh, I got to do that too. And it's this balance, and I'm going to have to balance it all. And I'm not going to let my children see me give up on it. So with that being said, if you have watched this and I have inspired you in any way, just stick to it. Stick to whatever gardening you're doing at whatever level you're doing. And this is small compared to a lot of people I watch. I mean, but this is, urban lot, downtown Orlando, doing the best I can. And I've got a lot more to do. I got a lot more plans, including a better irrigation system. So if you could help me out with my confidence, please subscribe. I know how many people watch these things, it tells me. And I know how many people subscribe, it tells me that too. And it would help my confidence out a little bit that you guys subscribed, made a comment. You go, Corey, yay! Like it, share it with somebody that is in the same position. And tell them not to stop. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
We both get there our own way. Thistle and an apple tree. How different two souls can be. But we both grow from the same sorrow. If we both know we'll be together tomorrow, I can be like a tree in the wind. Same old roots, but I can bend, turning to understand and sway together. Now it's almost like a dance, the rendering of stubbornness, and it just cuts us deeper through the long